The Cleveland Cavaliers entered the summer with quite a few things on their to-do list. It was obvious the Cavs had some fatal flaws in the playoffs that needed to be addressed in the offseason, but their path forward was as clear as ever. It didn't take a genius to see what this team was missing, and despite limited cap space, the Cavs had just enough wiggle room to make some moves. So with a clear game plan ahead and no more excuses to be made, how did the front office do? Have the Cavaliers taken the necessary steps to improve over the summer? Let's take a look at the offseason checklist and see if the Cavaliers are in a better position now than they were at the start of the summer. Before we get into the video, if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe and stick around and follow me on Twitter for more of my work. When last season ended, the Cavs should have had 3 things on their list: adding shooting to the roster, padding their front court depth, and internal growth. I think it's hard to say the Cavaliers have failed to do any of these things. While it's hard to know just how much the players have grown over the summer, the front office truly knocked it out of the park when it comes to tackling the offseason with a purpose. In the first 24 hours of free agency, the Cavs grabbed 2 of the best shooters available, acquiring Georges Niang and Max Strus, all while maintaining the core that made them a 51-win team to begin with. While the loss of Cedi Osman and Lamar Stevens will hurt for different reasons, the addition of 2 proven shooters with valid reputations from behind the arc is a clear upgrade. I've gone over this in previous videos, but Strus has commanded more defensive attention than Cedi Osman did in each of the last 2 seasons. Take a look at how New York defended Cedi Osman compared to how they defended Max Strus in the playoffs. The Knicks were just fine with Cedi being involved in screening action and used it as an opportunity to blitz the ball handler. In contrast, New York relentlessly fought over screens to stay connected to Max Strus. This opened the floor for Miami to attack a defense that is scrambling rather than set in stone like in the Cavs series. Even Karis LeVert had a hard time making the Knicks defense pay attention to him, and more often than not, the Knicks would completely drop on his pick and rolls and pack the paint. But for Max Strus, a defense in drop is simply an open shot. Opposing defenses weren't keen on giving Max Strus daylight from deep, and Strus himself didn't need much space to get a shot off. He finished near the top of the league in contested 3-point attempts, and when comparing his total contested attempts to anyone from Cleveland, Strus blows the supporting cast out of the water. Strus is a bona fide shooter and has a stronger gravitational pull than anyone other than Garland and Mitchell last season. The Cavaliers consistently generated quality 3-point looks, in large part because opposing defenses ignored their supporting cast. Without any volume shooters to command attention, teams got away with packing the paint against Cleveland, but Strus's willingness to bomb from deep will open up things in a way that wasn't possible before, putting Cleveland's dynamic backcourt in a much better position to attack a defense on its heels. All of the same things can be said for Georges Niang, who will provide even more shooting for the Cavaliers. The signing of Niang helps the Cavs accomplish 2 of their goals this offseason, bringing in another certified 3-point shooter and padding their depth in the front court. As a 40% shooter who truly demands attention from the defense, Niang made more 3-pointers than anyone on Cleveland's supporting cast in each of the last 2 seasons. Niang isn't the type of player who needs to set his feet and stand in the corner waiting for the ball. He's a gunner who can pull from anywhere on the perimeter, and Niang isn't afraid to shoot even when the defense is closing out to him. This sets him far apart from anyone on Cleveland's supporting cast from last season, and it's hard not to mention Kevin Love when looking at Niang's role with the Cavaliers, and that's because Love provided the frontcourt duo of Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen with a stretch 4 who could split their minutes. This change of style in the second unit was crucial to Cleveland's success, and I don't think it's a coincidence their offense started to sputter once Love was struggling and eventually gone from the team. While Niang, again, is nowhere near the player Kevin Love once was, his presence alongside the other Cavs additions will ensure they have 3 shooters on the floor at all times when healthy. Maintaining a consistent style of pace and space is a luxury the Cavs have not had yet with this core. Second unit lineups will be complemented by Niang's floor spacing, making him a valuable player to have in Cleveland. As for the rest of the front court, Kobe Altman made a smart move to pick up Damian Jones, an athletic 7-footer who is much more capable of playing minutes throughout 82 games than the veteran Robin Lopez was a year before. The Cavs are looking to make a deep playoff push, and that journey begins in the regular season. It's important Cleveland has multiple big men who can be utilized whenever Allen or Mobley need a break, and the combination of Niang and Jones does a reasonably good job of patching up their gaps in the rotation. I also think Isaiah Mobley is a name to keep an eye on. He has limited experience in the NBA, but has proven he can dominate at the lower levels. Mobley killed it in the G League and looked like Shaquille O'Neal in the Summer League. The older Mobley has less athleticism and jaw-dropping potential, but Isaiah has carved out a nice skill set as a playmaking big with more floor spacing ability than his brother. Isaiah Mobley could be a stretch 4 one day, although his jumper is still a work in progress. I like Mobley's upside as a playmaker, and while the post is no longer a viable offensive option, Isaiah's control and footwork as a post player can offer the Cavs some additional options off their bench. And if he can put together the rest of his game entering the season at just 24 years old, Isaiah Mobley could form a seriously solid duo with his brother at the NBA level. Because one of the most important things Cleveland needed to accomplish this summer was internal growth. This checkmark is still up in the air because it is impossible to know just how much the core has developed this summer, but we will find out soon enough. I think it's really encouraging to see things like the entire Cavs squad getting together in Miami to run scrimmages. They are treating it like a mini boot camp, and it suggests to me that everyone on the roster is pissed off and working relentlessly to bounce back from last season's disappointment. And I also think it's fantastic the Cavs front office has consistently made moves on the margins to keep themselves trending upward. The selection of Emoni Bates at 49 was an interesting one, and Bates is almost the definition of boom or bust as a late second-round draft pick who was once a prodigy. Bates showed all you could ask from him in the Summer League, and it seems increasingly likely Bates will be around the team to some degree throughout the season. Even if he spends most of the year in the G League, a 19-year-old 6'10 forward who has shown elite-level three-point shooting is a nice asset to have in your back pocket. And in the event Bates develops faster than expected, a fire will be lit under the rest of the core. The same goes for back-end players like Ty Jerome, Sam Merrill, Craig Porter Jr., and Isaiah Mobley. Keeping those young, hungry prospects around the team should keep everybody else motivated. And with an 82-game gauntlet standing between the Cavs and playoff redemption, it's vital they have enough depth to make it through the year. And all of these prospects have to be looking forward to those off nights where the team is injured and they can make a statement on the big stage. Building a championship culture means playing winning basketball from top to bottom, and while it can be overlooked, I genuinely think their win in the Summer League is an encouraging sign that Cleveland is really establishing something special with this franchise. Overall, I think the Cavs roster is better and makes more stylistic sense than it did last season. Realistically, the Cavs have everything they need now. The roster is full of star players and has the right group of supporting players, at least on paper, to open the floor and really get cooking. We will learn a lot about the Cavaliers this season, for better or worse. Will Evan Mobley show shades of an offensive leap? Do Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell have another gear in them? Does JB Bickerstaff have it in him to be an NBA head coach? These are all questions that could be answered, and there are no more excuses for this team now that they have a supporting cast that suits their needs. The front office has done everything you could ask when taking into account their limited options on the market. Their moves this summer should be good enough to unlock this team's full potential. Or at minimum, allow the core to flash what the next few years will look like as they continue to grow. And I'm excited to see how quickly the Cleveland Cavaliers can put it all together now that the only thing left to do is prove themselves. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and drop a like. And as always, go Cavs!